Good evening. I will call to order the Finance Committee meeting on June 1st, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. We have two items on the agenda this evening. We have a year-end transfer request in the amount of $3,731,000. We have a proposed non-union salary ordinance change to job description pursuant to Chapter 125, Personnel, Section 5. And I will begin with order number 26-1009752, year-end transfer request in the amount of $539,000, which moves funds from and to various accounts for Department of Public Works, Comptroller, Treasurer, City Clerk, Legal Department, in addition to a transfer totaling $3,192,000 from free cash to open space stabilization, $15,000 for open space stabilization, and snow and ice in the amount of $3,177,000. I'll begin by reading the letter submitted by the mayor. Dear Council President Ossing and councilors, enclosed for your review and approval are the fiscal year 2026 year-end transfer request in the amount of $3,731,000 relative to the number one, $3,177,000 from undesignated fund to fund the snow and ice deficit for FY 2026, $32,000 from the collector assistant finance director line item to go towards the unemployment account in the amount of $12,000, and $20,000 into $493,000 from various departments of public works salary accounts to fund the following transfers in the amount of $50,000 for natural gas bills, $68,000 to fund the fuel and lubricants account, $120,000 to fund the city repair and maintenance, a vendor to assist with the processing annual street listings notices, and $5,000 from the unfilled paralegal position to fund the legal services account for ongoing matters. Department heads and I will be available at future finance meetings to answer any questions you may have. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. With that, beginning with the letter submitted by the mayor, we can start with the first one, item, which is the undesignated fund to fund the snow and ice deficit for FY 2026. Council Vital.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the transfer.
Motion has been made, and I will second that to approve the $3,177,000 from the undesignated fund to fund the snow and ice deficit for FY 2026. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Council Orm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We talked about this during our budget hearings, and I believe I read it was 430% over the original budget. Obviously, we're lucky to have these vacant positions. We're not lucky. I'll look at the commissioner and say we're not lucky to have all these vacant positions. It doesn't make it easy for any department head in here to run a department. Concerns me is that FY 27, hopefully we'll start filling some of these positions and more or less to have some truth in financing in respect to snow and budget. And we're not the only, I know in the state people underestimate, but you know, I'm not sure if winter's going to change in the future, but there's not much we can do, and I guess we should be grateful there was some leftover money from vacant positions. But my concern, as I noted in budget time during the full budget, is that I don't think we're budgeting this properly, and hopefully someday we'll get at least 50% of it budgeted. You know, to be $3 million over is concerning, and there's no reason that we can't look at it a little bit more thoroughly maybe in the next budget season. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just as a point of clarification, the transfer does not involve any underruns in salary funds. That we aren't touching any salaried items for this. And the comment regarding funding, this is the funding way. We increased it from $500,000 a couple of years ago to $1 million, and the state allows us to overspend this account as just about every municipality, and Ted and his staff do an outstanding job. But you know, we had 20 events, over 68 inches of snow, and Ted, you can correct me if I got that math wrong, but that's my tracking, where last year we were only $1.3 million over with 14 events and 42 inches of snow, and in '24, we were only $600,000 over with 9 events and 27. So it's a function of what kind of snow we have, and we have money in the undesignated fund to cover it. So there's, my opinion, there is nothing we are going to change on how we fund the snow and ice account. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I will stand corrected. He is correct. It's coming from the undesignated fund. It's again, I know we can't gamble too often on winter, but we'll see what next year brings. But if we see another winter like we saw this year, or close to it, I think we need to start looking at that 1 million and increasing it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Council Vital?
Mr. Chair, I didn't get a chance to ever say this publicly, and I'd like to do it right now. I thought that DPW did a phenomenal job
They did.
throughout the winter.
Thank you.
I would drive into other towns, and there would always be slush and snow on the roads, and Marlboro did a phenomenal job, so I think we're getting the best bang for the buck. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Council Vital, because I do know I got a lot of feedback with the school children having to walk a little further. DPW was right on the ball doing their clearing at night. So good point. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Moving on to the $32,000 transfer from the Collector Assistant Finance Director line item to go towards the unemployment account in the amount of $12,000 and $20,000 for the postage account.
Mr. Chair?
Councilor Patillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions on this line item. Would that move to approve the $32,000 transfer?
Motion has been made, and I will second that to approve the $32,000 account. Any further discussion? Councilor Orman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question, I don't know if our clerk is here, I don't see the mayor is here at least, is that this was for additional mailings due to motor vehicle excise taxes. I was just curious if we're going to see an increase in motor vehicle excise taxes since we need.
So, I hope you're correct. I did, in my projections, I did increase the motor vehicle excise tax collections from last year to this year. So, you know, we do have an increased population, increased motor vehicle.
Tied to this story, and that's the increase in motor vehicle excise taxes. So thank you for your response. I don't know if the mayor, he looks like he's ready to roll there. No?
Oh, that's the goal.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor. Motion is made and seconded to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Next up is a transfer of $15,000 from undesignated fund, which is the wireless antenna payments to fund the open space stabilization account.
Mr. Chair?
Council Vital.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $15,000 transfer.
Motion's been made, and I will second that to approve the $15,000 transfer from undesignated funds to fund the open space stabilization account. Any further discussion? Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering, Mayor O'Brien, and Ed, can you provide some insights? If we could provide some insights as to why the collections have continued to decrease. It went from 28,000 in fiscal year '22 to 29 to 25 to 19 and now 15. Are we not collecting? Did we redo the contract? That's question one. I'll let you answer that.
I'll answer that. So, on an annual basis, there are 19 that should be paying us at $1,500 apiece. It should be $28,500. So this was brought to my attention end of March, early April. I will thank the procurement, Krista Holme, for bringing it to my attention when she went to do a contract. She was checking to see if people had been paid, and we found a little glitch in the system, let's say. So back in the day, this was tracked through one department. That person left employment with the city. It got moved to another department. That person was tracking it, an invoice to bill these on the date, and therefore we have a system to track it, so if people leave, we would see an invoice outstanding saying, where's our money? So that's kind of where we're at right now, and we are gonna go back and try to collect any fees that haven't been paid, if that answers your question.
You actually answered the funds aren't being collected. So we're about 13,500 short. And as Brian said, and I appreciate that, Brian, have a process in place so that we collect those funds, so that we get the money that's owed the city, because they won't, if we don't bill them, they're not gonna just voluntarily send the money. It's like if you told me you're not gonna send me my excise tax, or, I won't be sending you a bill for my excise, right? Send me a bill and I'll send you the money, but don't just expect me to pay my excise tax, right? So, thank you, Brian, I appreciate that. I have no further questions in
Thank you,
support.
Mr.
Mr. Chair, and if I can
Council
comment to
Biden.
that, good catch. And I would expect the wireless companies will not forget that when they bill us, we need to pay them. So hopefully they'll start getting their bills on time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Council
Mr.
Biden.
Chair, I'm just curious, since we're on the subject, how long are these contracts with the antenna companies? Because I think over the last year, we've added like 3 or 4 more, so this number should be going up from 28, I would assume. But how long are the contracts, I guess is...
We would add them to the spreadsheet, and you're right, they're long-term contracts. So I think one of them was like a 20-year contract. I think that's the oldest one that's now coming up. I mean, they're long-term. Again, kind of back, these were special permits, so they were added on. So the tracking, who's in charge of tracking special permits that are approved here? And that was really the loophole that we're trying to cover.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so motions are made and seconded to approve the $15,000 transfer from undesignated fund to fund the open space stabilization account. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Moving on to the $493,000 from various departments of public works salary account to fund the following transfers. And we have the letter from Commissioner Scott. And we can start with the first one, which is $50,000 to city natural gas account for projected increased usage costs.
A motion, are you going to do each one separately?
Yes.
A motion to approve?
Motion was made and seconded to approve the $50,000. Now, any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very briefly, every year when we go through the budget, right, the natural gas accounts are ones that we always take a look at to make slight reductions. This year, between the two and the maintenance of schools and the public facilities, made modest $10,000 adjustments. So, right, we're always, I'm expecting this transfer to come.
Moving on to the same thing, $68,000 to fuel lubricant accounts for projected increased usage cost.
Motion to approve?
Motion's been made, and I will second that to approve the $68,000 fuel lubricant account for projected increased usage costs, and this will be coming from various accounts as noted on the spread. It is a $120,000 transfer to the city repairs and maintenance accounts for unforeseen cost. I will entertain Council Bud.
I'd just like to know what those unforeseen costs were, if you don't mind.
There's a few smaller ones designed. The big one is when, so the interlock system for the doors on the public buildings, we changed the software system, and we're in the process of turning some of the buildings over, and the card crashed. So in emergency, we had to do the senior center, city hall, DPW, fire station 1, and part of the police station in an emergency so that the interlocks would work. So that's most of it right there, and then there's some others.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the $120,000 transfers to city repairs and maintenance accounts for unforeseen costs, and this will be coming from the various accounts as submitted in the spreadsheet. Any further discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Next up is $255,000 to professional and technical services to fund additional engineering services.
Motion to approve?
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the $255,000 to professional and technical services to fund additional engineering services, and this will be coming from various accounts as noted on the spreadsheet from the Department of Public Works. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Counselor Wong.
This is where my mistake was on the beginning. These are excess funds from positions that are not filled, and I would like,
We prioritize. The general foreman positions, like I said before, those will be filled by the end of the month. We're filling a couple more SMEOs. It's a tough process. We are interviewing. We get through a process. We've
working with HR to see if we're competitive with as they're doing with other positions.
as far as cost,
As far as being competitive, offering competitive salaries, and
it's hard to say. Some have probably renegotiated their deal after they got our offer.
yeah.
And most of those positions are union contracts or union positions as well, so it's not as easy as one can just to leverage, so.
Okay, well, I just would ask that you continue to make these competitive so you're not losing people as fast as you're getting them, and your department can function properly, so.
We try.
So, thank you both.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion has been made and, Mr. President.
Thanks. Mr. Commissioner, can you just shed some insight on the engineering services?
Sure.
Just,
So that's for the design of West Main Street and South Street and Pleasant Street. That's how much design costs for a traffic intersection. We're hoping to get, the mayor's office worked with the federal government Lord Johan's office to try to secure a $1 million grant for that. So if we can have the design ready for that, hopefully we can get that grant.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the $255,000 transfer. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Moving on to the $9,000 transfer from the election budget to the city clerk's budget for a vendor to assist with the processing annual street listings. We did receive a letter from Mr. Clerk Kerrigan on this, and this is for $9,000 transfer.
Mr. Chair?
Counsel Pacillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good reminder for folks to fill out their annual street listing, or else they are removed from the active voter list. So these notices will be going out with this transfer, and with that, move to approve the $9,000 transfer.
Motion has been made. I will second that to approve the $9,000 transfer coming from funds from the election programming and poll workers account to fund the city clerk's budget processing of this paralegal notice.
This is a returning their street list request. The question I had is the prepaid return. If obviously they decide not to return it, do we get that postage back, or is that we don't? So we're mailing out costs to mail it out, and we have a prepaid postage. It says prepaid return. Postage prepaid, I know you're not, the clerk's not here, but curious, they say they sent them out with sent with a postage prepaid return. I was curious, if it's not used, do we get that money back from them?
Yeah, I would have to check, but I always put a stamp on when I return mine.
Throwing money out the window, in my view. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is for people who didn't return their annual street
Right,
listing. They're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
an additional mailing saying, if you want to vote,
Right.
you need to return this form. So I've never gotten one, but it does say prepaid.
Yeah, well, for inactive, that makes sense, but.
The original one I got, but it didn't have postage.
Correct, right? Right, yeah. Yeah, the responsible one, and just mail it when it's supposed to mail it in. Right, yeah.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the $9,000 transfer for professional and technical services in the clerk's department. Any further discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Moving on to the last item is $5,000 from the unfilled paralegal position to fund the legal service accounts for ongoing matters. We did receive the letter from the city solicitor Grossfield on this. If anyone had any questions? Counsel Vital?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the $5,000 transfer.
Motion's been made, and I will second that to approve the $5,000 transfer from the paralegal account to the legal services account as in the amount of $5,000. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mr. Chair.
Counsel Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just ask that at our next meeting, suspension of the rules in order for us to
Thank
take
you.
these up.
Perfect. Finance Committee is all set with that? Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Counsel Facillo, reminding me.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda is order number 26-100-9697, proposed position of the city collector, assistant finance director, city collector, and assistant recreation director. I'll begin by reading the letter submitted by the mayor.
It's a very long letter. I don't know if you want to cut that down.
Lengthy. I'll go through it, maybe not as quick as Clerk Kerrigan. The comprehensive study took an objective look at each job description, which will be sent down at a later date. Salaries and recommended classification salary plan structures. The city last comprehensive salary change for non-union positions was 10 years ago in 2016. I'm sending down for your review and approval an ordinance with the classification salary plan for many of our non-union positions based on the recommendations of the Collins Center study as a guide. Our recommendations are to move to a 15-step pay structure classifying positions with grouping systems, reorganization of the Recreation and Human Resources Department, and changing the city collector's position to 40 hours, now currently 35. Certain job title changes and approval of certain job descriptions, classification of the 15-step pay structure. The reason why we chose a 15-step pay structure was to ensure that the employees will stay to ensure consistency, long-term institutional knowledge. The grouping of positions allow pay equity across department level based on job responsibilities. The main objective was twofold for the city. The first was to ensure the starting rate for each position was significant to attract new candidates and to also be competitive with surrounding municipalities. Second, it was to establish a grouping system so the job responsibilities within the city are consistent with the salary ranges. While identifying these solutions, it was imperative that we address other challenges such as reorganization of departments. This task was not an easy feat, and numerous versions of this process occurred over many, many months. Working with HR, the comptroller, and legal, we looked at based on very long-term vacant positions. Thank you, Heather, thank you. Continue with the 7-step and even a 12-step model. The grouping of each position was analyzed to the position utilizing this Collins Center study as reference point. Regarding the grouping of the positions, you will see that it starts with a Group B. Group A is reserved for potential future use if needed. As you know, in separate salary ordinances and/or employment agreements. All groupings have a starting step 1, which is a competitive starting salary based on the market. Having said that, we have numerous incumbent employees that cannot start at step 1 in the new grouping system because the positions currently at step 1. This method would cause huge spikes in salary increases across the board that were not consistent and would not have an equity for years of service for a particular grouping. If our current 7-step model were updated based on the Collins Center study, 30% over the 15 years of service, averaging about a 2% increase per step as we currently have with the 7-step model. Based on the analysis and keeping the budget in mind, this is how the current proposed 15-year salary step model before you came to fruition. I've outlined in the attached documents the positions that are currently filled and what steps each employee in their current position would need to be placed in so there is no pay disparity with City Council approval. Recreation and Human Resources Departments. The Recreation Department will include reinstating an Assistant Recreation Director and will not be filling the Program Coordinator role. It would allow the city to be more competitive with the market and to directly assist the Director with day-to-day operations. This department has not seen any reorganization despite the expanded aquatics and seasonal programs that continue to grow within the city. However, staff and resources have not. This also creates the possibility of a succession plan. The city has discussions with MMEA on certain aspects of this. Human Resource Department include a change to the role of Human Resource Assistant to Human Resource Manager, as well as adding 5 hours per week to the Human Resource Administrative Assistance role, which is currently at 35 hours, to 40 hours. This change is necessary to support the change in our insurance broker that took effect on January 1st. This transition has resulted in several administrative functions that previously were handled externally by our broker, including an average of 20 hours a month, in-house support services that are now assumed by the City Human Resources Department. This adjustment assures that we have appropriate oversight within our insurance plan and allows for effective operation of Human Resources Department functions. Based on the very long City Collector Assistant Finance Director and the Recreation Department positions, so the job descriptions can be posted and the interview process can be started. Changes on title and number of hours per week. Please take note that we currently have a few positions that are 35 hours, and they are labeled accordingly and should not be coincides with all other department heads. Seeing this position is vacant, it is an appropriate time to make this change. The City Council's support in considering these changes to support our operations and workforce is greatly appreciated. I would like to thank Human Resources, Legal, and the Comptroller for all the input and work that have went into this. I look forward to having the further discussion about the ordinance changes. I am available for any questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve for discussion purposes. I do have some questions or comments.
What I would suggest,
You
because
wanna do them
I know that the mayor, and when the mayor did highlight for the bringing to expedite the approval of the city collector, assistant finance director, recreation department director for the assistant, that's basically why I wanted to have this meeting tonight. And I am on board to approving the job descriptions. I would like to take these in 2 votes. I would like to have the job description and then go for it. President Austin.
What you just said can't happen. Period. We're only talking about 4 positions. You have no idea what the salary is for any of those current positions because it's in dollars per hour. I think it's an irresponsible motion, and the Finance Committee should not support that until we vet it first. Don't make a motion that you don't know what the cost is to this city. I think that's totally fiscally irresponsible.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I was motioning for the positions you noted, but if I indeed did not include the classifications of those positions, then I'll break my motion into 2 parts. But we do see in the schedules provided the cost for each step and each position. That's in our packet. So we do know the cost is shown in the packet. I'm not sure if I misunderstood the packet.
It is broken down in sections and by hourly, Mr. President.
Again, Council Orem, I would ask that you do not make any motions on this particular topic in dollars per hour. Everything's done on an annual salary.
So we see, and if I may, Mr. Chair, I don't want to have a direct back and forth here, but as you can see in the chart that was provided, the Recreation Director, Assistant Director, is shown at a rate in the chart that's provided in this 40 hours times that rate times 50 weeks. But if indeed this is to be motioned in a different way, then I'll wait for that motion to be made. But I am in support. First of all, I want to thank the mayor, comptroller, HR, and legal for doing all this work and for providing this package. It's long overdue. The Collins Center study, previous mayor kept asking, when are we going to update some of our positions so these departments can function appropriately? But if it's to be broken down in a different way, and we get to the same end goal, I don't have a problem with that. But I want to see this move on, and I was going to ask that we move this along as quick as possible so these departments can function properly. That was my intent, but I'll wait to see if indeed there's a better way to make a motion on this.
Councilor Roby, and then I'll go to President Ossie.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess I was questioning the same thing as Councilor Orem. I did the math a little differently. I did the hours times 40 times 52 weeks, because that's what I always thought was in a year. So I came up with more money than we have in the budget. I also question the fact that the budget only has a line called city collector, yet all the information within the budget that we got from the comptroller indicated that they want a city collector / assistant finance director. We don't have an assistant finance director. We have a comptroller and we have
City clerk.
an auditor. So the term is confusing to me. And which one do we want? Do you want to have both of them so that if you hire somebody who's not able to be the assistant finance director but is a collector, and so you've got somebody in the collector's position, you can hire that person? Or do you really want someone who can take over and help the comptroller do their job?
Both of those positions are, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, through you, all those positions are already part of the salary ordinance that we have. We're just updating the job descriptions based upon the Collins Center.
So you're asking for the collector to be paid at $103,105 according to my math. The hourly rate times 40 times 52. So
We classified them in Group C, which step one would be 103, correct? When we put this salary study down, we were under the assumption that's why we had reserved for salaries, because we didn't know the direction of the city council. So when we put this down in March, we're all hoping that this would be concurrent with the budget, so we can have an honest conversation about where we are at, so we can apply this to the actual budget for fiscal year, just focusing on the job description. You can correct me if I'm wrong. That's a bigger conversation about the 15 steps, how are we funding for these positions, and moving forward.
So if we're not talking about the salary ordinance changes, why are we talking about it? The job descriptions to me are totally different.
The job descriptions are new based upon the Collins Center, and they have to be approved by city council
And that's
Also, doesn't the salary change need to be approved?
at some point, but if you want to take that up today, we can. I don't know what the direction of the city
Yeah,
council
and
is for
that's a good point,
tonight.
Councilor. One of the reasons I want to address this is because I do support definitely the Assistant Recreation Director. We need that, that was in your letter saying that. So, yes, I wanted to first have, approve the job descriptions, and then I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversation when it comes to how we want to structure salaries. Is it 7 steps? Is it 12 steps? Is it the 15 steps? But I definitely wanted to have the meeting because I do support these positions for the job descriptions.
Mr. President, Mr. Chair, so then in order of the way I guess the committee would like to take this would be to approve the job descriptions first and take up the salaries at a different time?
The reason is because I'm thinking it's going to be quite the debate on some of those.
That's fine. So then I will take back my original motion and just at this point, although I'm ready to discuss the salaries too, but at this point I would motion to approve the job descriptions as shown.
Motion's
See
been
where it
made,
goes.
and I will, Council Vital.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because we put it in writing, and because we say it a lot, that this Collins study is valid, I would counter that. Having spent 20 years in executive human resources departments and developing many studies, salary survey, you survey all the adjoining towns. Everyone that touches Marlboro should be in the Collins study. Not all the towns that touch Marlboro are in that study. Why, I wondered. I wonder why that town wasn't there. So I checked into it. Well, they pay less than Marlboro does. Objectionable, I think was in the letter, this objective study. I would counter that it may not be objective.
If I may, Mr. Chair, To comment to Councilor Vital, I've been involved with salary studies as well, and in Ashland, where I work full-time. And indeed, it doesn't always involve the abutting towns and cities, because the amount of responsibility could be different, the type of government could be different. But what we used to do, and I'm expecting that this would be what Collins is looking at, is a comparable city or town to Marlborough. And then they also look at regions too. They look at what's the cost of living. If I'm out in the end of the state, my house may be a lot cheaper to afford than working here in the city of Marlborough and trying to afford a home, or anywhere in Metro West, I'll say. But, you know, it depends on those issues as well. You know, you can't always touch the city or town, you know, in respect to salary surveys. You have to look at the responsibilities, such as what does the health agent do in Acton versus Ashland. You know, that's how we looked at it back in our salary reviews. But, you know, Collins, you may be correct to some of that degree, but touching cities and towns, I know that was not the crux of what we were looking at. It was more the type of services and population and so forth. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Ravi.
Right, so if we're talking the actual job descriptions and skipping the salary ordinance at this juncture in the discussion, I would still go back to my initial question: why do we have a city collector and a city collector / assistant finance director? Do you want to be able to hire both of them, or do you want one or the other?
I think we just put this down for the option of either or. The goal is to keep that collector, assistant finance director, if we have a candidate that can actually, when we're talking succession planning, that can take over for a comptroller and slide into that role and move forward. I believe that position was filled at one point with the prior administration, and that's why it doesn't exist. So we just kept all candidates to see what we would get for that position, and if there was a candidate that fit that narrative with that position, then we'd go with that candidate, as opposed to limiting ourselves with just a city collector position.
And I would guess that there's a whole different education and certification to be the assistant.
Some collectors just want to stay collectors. Others would like to move into a higher position. It's just based upon their desire as what their journey consists of with the position that they want.
And then when the budget is created, because there's only the one line versus separate lines, the amount of money is enough for the responsibilities and functions of the assistant finance director piece added on to the collector's responsibilities.
Well, the collector assistant finance, we grouped as Group C.
Right,
and the
so
collector
the
is
difference
Group
between the
D.
two salaries
Correct.
is $5.72 an hour. It's not, and I could be wrong, but it seems like the responsibilities of the assistant finance, the additional of what's in the job description it doesn't seem like it's enough to add that extra, but it's just me speaking. So, but I guess I don't see an issue with the job descriptions per se, but I'm not on finance either, so.
Mr. President?
So, councilors, I don't know how you can honestly evaluate a salary ordinance and say it's good by $1 per hour. We have worked in this council in my 27 years, and every salary ordinance is 7 steps and based on an annual salary. Now, if you're telling me you're doing that hand-scratching math for each one of these, God bless you. But I know you're not. Because you were incorrect. You shortchanged the recreation director by $20,000, and I don't think he wants an $80,000 salary. So I know you're not looking at what this really is. And so to not understand what you're voting on is irresponsible. And you're asking the taxpayers to just go do this and not know what the ramifications are. You could not turn around to a member of the public other than saying it's a salary study. Well, I've said it 1,000 times. There's not a salary study in the world that comes back and says, cut everybody's pay. It just doesn't happen. Period. They are a 15-step, so 15 steps. I didn't want to get down this path, but if I'm going to start, that's 2% a year for 13 years. Add a COLA on top of that. That's 5% increase for every year. There's not a department head out here that wouldn't say, sign me up. Well, guess who's listening? The folks that we have union contracts with. Irresponsible. You just can't do it. My recommendation, approve the job descriptions. Tell the mayor to go back and resubmit this on a 7-step process. I've told him how to do it. I've given him the information. Cut it at 7 steps. Annual salary, just like we just did the DPW commissioner, the assistant fire chief, the assistant police chief, the city engineer, the city planner, the assistant commissioners, all just did 7 steps. The world was okay last year, and now all of a sudden we got to go to 15 steps at 2% increases that cover 13 years. I'm telling you, you did not do your homework if you're not paying attention and reading this. Unless you think we're just going to give money away, which is what this does. And I will not be supporting it. I will support the job descriptions, and I will support the mayor to go back and send this down with 7 steps, capped, just like I sent to him and Brian, because otherwise, just empty the checkbook, folks. And Council Roby's right, there's not enough money in any of this to do this. Well, technically there is. We underspend a ton in salaries, so there'll be money to move around to cover them. We have to set an effective date, all right? Doesn't mean they're going to all be effective July 1. We can set the effective date for this. But I'm telling you, read it. Don't, just because they said the Collins, who the heck is the Collins Center that they're that smart that they're going to make this the right decision? Go, if that's how you do your homework, God bless you.
Mr. Chair? A couple comments. First of all, the motion on the floor is for the job descriptions, so I would ask that we look at that first, and then I'll have questions on the salaries and the 15-step versus the 7-step. But right now, that's not for the motion that was made.
So your original motion was to approve the job descriptions?
Yes.
I will second that motion. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the job descriptions pursuant to Chapter 125, Personnel Section 5, Preparation Classification Descriptions for position City Collector, Assistant Finance Director, City Collector, and Assistant Recreation Director. Any further comments? Council Vital.
Mr. Chair, I too will approve the job descriptions with the understanding that the department.
Because they can't fund anything without a salary ordinance. We haven't approved a salary ordinance. All we're doing is saying, here's the job description, you can go post it. But they don't have a salary to go with the posting, so they probably won't post it. All right? The issue's going to be, get a salary ordinance that is reasonable. And if the Finance Committee says what's in front of you is good, then go vote on it. And God bless you, Councilor Roby, if you did. I cheated and had the mayor send me what the salaries are. And your eyes are going to pop out. I recommend you look at it. Because $70 an hour and $40 an hour means nothing to anybody that's evaluating salary. Nothing. And this body is responsible for appropriation. And if you don't
Move forward with that position.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. That's all. Thank
And
you.
the second part that's not being discussed is, even though I support the Assistant Recreation Director, there's issues that got to get addressed with how it's going to be funded, because that's a
Thank you.
non-union position that's currently in the budget as a program manager. That's a union position that I know, God bless Chuck, he's trying to get his department organized. That should be up front, and we should be updated on what that status is, so that we can approve a functioning, not that it doesn't function now, Chuck, but you're killing yourself there, kid. You got to get him help, is my easy way to say that. But that's got to come before us, because approving it's not going to do any good if we have to battle with the union. Work with the union and come back with a package that works.
So, point of information, we do not need to battle with the union because that position was already existed, so we do not. So the position was already there, so we just reclassified the actual department and brought back that position. So there's no need to negotiate with the union for that position.
What about the senior clerk?
That will need to be negotiated with the union. You are correct with that, but not the assistant director.
That's encouraging.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you. So motion has been made and seconded to approve the job descriptions. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Now, the pleasure of the finance team, we can make a decision on what we wish to do. Send this back, refer this back to the mayor, but I'm willing to have the conversation. Councilor.
Mr. Chair, in the conversation, I think the mayor noted, and I thank them, you had HR involved with this, you had the legal department involved with this, you had the mayor, the comptroller. Those people are experts in what they do, and I entrust them with, we are looking at departments that are in need of these positions, and we need to be competitive. Now, are we over-competitive? I don't think so, because they're unfilled. These are positions that have been unfilled for quite a long time, and in my view, the way we get to that is having professionals put work into this. And I won't down the Collins Center, because they've been around for years, but if we want to pull that report apart, we can. It was discussed before. One of the more important things here, too, is redundancy. If for some reason your finance director wasn't here tomorrow, do we have someone that can get into that step, such as what's being proposed here? So, but it probably will need further discussion. And indeed, if you want to send down what the salaries are per the hourly, maybe my math was off, and I apologize to the recreation director if I'm shortchanging your person by 20. There was no intent on that. And then look at some other cities and towns that are comparable to Marlborough and see what they're paying, you know. But I don't want to underestimate the work that went into this. I've been on this floor many a times asking that we get to this point. I'm glad we're at this point, and if it needs further discussion, I have no problem with that. I'm not going to make an opinion if I like the 7-step or the 15-step. We'll see how that all falls into the cracks and how it matters in respect to attracting good, solid employees that will stay here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've appreciated the conversation so far, and I don't, couple points that President Ossing made that I do want to emphasize as well. I really believe that the 15 steps, what is bothering me the most is the inconsistency with what we have been doing over the course of the last year with some positions here in the city that are all at 7 steps. So I would like to see the positions brought down, right, the recreation director, assistant rec position, and that collector position along with the assistant finance in that 7 steps, just to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at compared to 15, if that's...
We evaluated the 7 steps. We did a 12-step. We did a 15-step.
Right,
But
right.
if you do the range of what the other municipalities are paying, if you do a 7-step increase, it's going to be like a 5% increase per each step. So we've looked at this and analyzed it. What is the least impact on the taxpayer? So that's why we did a 15-step. You know, so like when we looked at it and we evaluated what was the less hit. That doesn't mean that that's going to happen either, especially as increases across the board every year. So this was, again, a lot of work went into this. We evaluated a lot of different scenarios. I can't tell you how many spreadsheets I have regarding what was the best game plan for this, because when we're talking consistency and equity, that's why there's a grouping. And then if you do there's so many layers to this. It wasn't an easy task, and like every roadblock we hit, we had to pivot. And the 15-step was the best scenario to try to make so many other things work within this. And then we sent down an hourly pay scale because not everyone even works a 40-hour that component as well. So we will evaluate and do whatever you want to do. If you want to see a breakdown with the ranges, with the 7 steps, we can do that. But like I said, you will notice the significant increases per the steps. But again, we don't have to have this debate now. We're more than welcome to talk about it and share. But again, this was an animal to take over. It's been an incredible ride, to say the least. But this is what happens when we don't do anything for over 10 years. We were so far behind the 8 ball with a lot of great employees that I'm very just thankful that if they were to go somewhere else, they'd be making an incredible amount of more money than what we're offering. And a city of this size should be comparative and competitive with other municipalities.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor, but I think that's all the more reason why I would like to see some of those options and to see that presented to us. And especially the fact that we should, in my opinion, be taking these one at a time because of the nuances that you discussed, 35 hours versus 40 hours. And I would like to see, right, the yearly annual salary for these people rather than the hourly rate, right? I mean, we've had folks working at 35 or 40 hours, for as long as I can remember being here at the city. So, and we've always seen those in a yearly setup. So I would just like to see it all presented to us, and that's where I stand, but that's my time there, Mr. Chair, I appreciate it.
Mr. President.
Thank you. So this 15-step process, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individuals that fall outside this 7-step process. The current 7-step process is a 2% increase, all right? Why would I want to change that? I told you, one-time exemptions for these if the council sees fit. We did it with DPW, we did it with the assistant fire chiefs. If there's a need, the comptroller, the solicitor, they come down and see us. We just want to blanket give all this money away because we want this so-called equity somewhere. Okay, it's a big deal. And to just, make a motion to approve it. I can't tell you how that just sends me over the edge. That's just irresponsible. It should be 7-step process like we always do, same 2% increases. If you want to go put somebody in a new category and they're outside that, at that point, okay, come down and say it. But 15 steps, it's financially unattainable for the city. I cannot stand behind that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know there was a motion to approve the job descriptions, but the comment that the mayor just made regarding 40 hours per week, in the document of the salary schedule, there is the section 2, Roman numeral 2, the above position shall be 40 hours per week, except the following shall be 35, with nothing in there, which to me indicated that you want all of these to be 40 hours per week. So why not put that in the job description? It's not there. I just looked. There's nothing about hours. If it's in the job description, you know it's a 40-hour week.
I'm not understanding your question.
You had said some are 35, some are 40.
Correct.
Make them all 40. Just put it in the job description. It's a 40-hour-a-week job.
And that's the goal when those 35 hours retire. I can't do it now because I'll be making significant less amount of money. The collector, I believe, is at 35 hours, and it's not filled yet. So it will be moving over to a 40 hours. But I can't have someone go to a 40-hour because they'll make less money now if they go to a 40 hours because they'll make less per hour.
Because of what's in the budget currently versus what you're proposing to be?
Based upon their wage. If they go up to a 40-hour
But
work week, their salary is going to be less than what they
You
make.
said there's nobody in the position now.
For collector, correct.
For
That's why
collectors.
collector's
So
going to
a
be 40 hours.
new person coming in isn't going to know what to compare a
Right,
salary
but
to.
there's other 35-hour per, like IT, the nurse, there's other positions that are 35 hours. So I can't bring them to a 40-hour work week because they'll make, based upon their wage, they'll make less money at 40 hours than they will at 35 hours based upon their salary. So I have to keep them at 35 hours as of right now until they retire. Then we can bring down the job description and move that position to a 40, and then they'll fit in that classification.
But what difference does it make for other people? I'm only talking about the 4 positions you've got on the salary schedule.
Correct, they'll all be 40 hours.
So why not put that in the job description?
A work week.
No, typically put that. Typically, you don't put hours in a job description. You do it in your postings, but it's not, because it's the job function, it's not the hours someone works in a job description. It's based upon, that's about what you do with the posting, because it could, technically, you could hire doing less hours of the same job. So the job description is the function of the job, and the hours is what you do in a posting or budget for. We do have some positions in the city that are 35 hours and some that are 40. So the lowest common denominator is an hourly rate of compensation. And that's why the columns have a position that are 20 hours, some have it at, the full-time based upon what the community's full-time hours are. So here, we don't put the hours in a job description. It's done as a posting because it's about the function of the job, not the hours they work.
Okay, so if you come back with a revised salary ordinance that is the 7 steps, will it simply say all positions are 40 hours per week? Except that is throwing me off because there's nobody there. So you really only want people to be 40 hours per week.
We do have some that are 35.
In
that
this
currently-
particular posting, which is for the collector, assistant, finance director, city collector, and assistant recreation director.
I
That's
think
this
the
specific
current
posting.
Posting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the current city collector role as city collector in the ordinance that exists was just a 35-hour position. The last person that held that role was 3 people ago. And after that, they created the city collector / assistant finance director, and that position went to 40 hours. So trying to make sure we maintain the 2 job descriptions in case down the road, let's say you have someone internal that may not have all of the qualifications if you're doing succession planning, because the collector role is a hard position to fill. In municipalities, we also are looking for someone that could potentially, down the road, fill an assistant finance director. We want to make sure we maintain those 2 job descriptions. It's not looking to fill right now those 2 as separate positions. It's just making sure that as we move forward in this process, that we're keeping ourselves in line, that if for some reason a position's vacant and this decision at that time is to go the direction of the city collector.
But we don't have the salary ordinance, and you hire a collector. They're only going to be working 35 hours a week?
If you do it the way it is currently, and Brian.
And then what happens when we change the salary ordinance to be 40 hours a week, and they don't want to work 40 hours a week?
They don't want to.
40 if we don't have the salary ordinance approved, can you?
What we recommended was based on a 40.
But we haven't approved it yet, and evidently that's going to take some time to get done. So do you want somebody in the position yesterday?
Yes, I think at this moment where we've moved forward with the current, the assistant finance, the city collector assistant finance director already is a 40-hour position. That's what you guys voted several years ago.
And you have the candidate for that position?
We moved forward with the current job description, would look to.
Sure, if you don't mind, I'll jump in. So, correct. So, we're moving forward with the current position as collector assistant finance director. When I left before, they created that position. But when they did that, they didn't fix the collector position and made that a 7-step, 40-hour position. They just left it alone, and we're trying to fix that so that down the road, say things happen and someone wants to move up into that position, but they're a little green, you can hire them as the collector. Then as they accumulate from that, saying, hey, we like this person, let's make them collector assistant finance director, you can now keep them longer instead of them jumping somewhere else trying to be the collector treasurer or something else with another community. So we're trying to use that as a stepping stone to get someone succession plan and then fill the position. As you guys know, it's difficult to find finance positions.
Right.
Again, the goal when we submitted this in March was to have these conversations, so when we put this out, we would have the budget that would fit the need based upon the position. So,
Mr. Chair. So if the mayor's office is in a hurry to get a collector, assistant collector, and assistant recreation director, we just told him we want 7 steps. I'm going to expect on Thursday, he's going to tell me, here's the salary, 7-step salary ones for these 3 positions. Leave the rest alone, because it looks like there's a lot more discussion. But if those are really the priority, I think you got the sense of the council, we want 7 steps. All right? You don't have to like it, but if you want to get something approved, you'll do it. If not, we're going to go to 15 steps, which is 5% a year, which is just, it's insane. It's going to cripple your negotiating powers going forward with all your other contracts.
Mr. Chair,
Councilwoman.
I would ask that they provide a comparison, a decision yet, so I would say speak on behalf of yourself, if you're saying the council has indicated they want 7 steps, I haven't indicated that. I would like to see the data, take a strong look at it, and see what is best for the city, including retaining employees.
Just want to emphasize the fact that we looked at several job descriptions tonight that, have, from your perspective, Mayor, this is based on the conversation we've had today, our priorities right now that we need to work on. So, I would specifically ask that we see the 7-step for the city collector, assistant finance director, and the city collector position, the 2 of those, as well as rec director and assistant rec director, because that, to me, appears to be the urgency right now. So that's what I would expect for us to review immediately. So I personally, I believe there's a motion on the floor from Councilor Orem to, get a comparison between the 7 steps, but specifically, I would like to see those. That seems to be the urgency, and that's what the conversation today should have been about, but we were kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, which is fine. Obviously, there's a lot more here to discuss, but I want to make sure I see the rec directors here tonight that we're taking care of these items, as soon as possible. And I appreciate, Mayor, the fact that you have relayed that urgency to us.
Yeah, I mean, I will do my best to get this down for Thursday, but looking at the data, like, where do you even start from a step 7? If you're looking at 15 steps, that's the min and the max, and that's what we did. So if we cut it in the middle, and then we do a percentage of the increase from min and max, then we can do that. But
So again, I'm going to disagree. Our current 7-step process doesn't have 2% for 13 years. Stop it at step 7. That's your 7-step, right there.
Right.
You should prove me wrong. The other positions that we just did are all 2% increases.
Correct.
Right? So so now you're going to go set something up for 15 years. I told you I gave you information on how to solve the problem. Cut it at 7, and you're done.
But the DPW salary was started before I got here, and those start extremely high, and they don't fit on this classification. So I can start higher, but I don't think that's the route that we want to go. That's why it's only a 2%, because the starting
Max on any of the 15-step salaries. I don't know how clearer I can be. I'm done at 7. All the extra 2% for the next, get rid of them. Just stop them at 7. Because they'll be no different than right now. If you would come down without this stupid Collins Center study and said, okay, you call it the FIFA schedule, great, but you're trying to force us into something that I don't buy into.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair?
Council Vital?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, from my own experiences in setting up compensation programs, both salary scales and grades and so forth and so on, and teaching it, in fact, I've never been in municipalities, so I start off with that caveat, but I've never seen a pay range that had 15 steps. Never once. 10 is the max that I've ever seen. Now, if municipalities are different, well, then I'm just not familiar with municipalities. But typically, it's like 10 steps.
It's actually pretty common it can go 10, 12, 15, even up to 20. The schools have quite a bit of steps, and they have lanes. It's not that uncommon. Like I said, it's just uncommon here in Marlborough. And I think that's the uniqueness of Marlborough, because just because you guys haven't seen it before doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And we're just trying to, again, right a lot of wrongs over the last 10 years. And we're trying to classify so there's pay equity across the board. So all of different department heads that are in the same job functions or same responsibilities are getting paid the same. So when you peel back the layers of this onion, you can't have this step, when the job functions based upon department heads are somewhat similar. So that's why there's a whole grouping process, and that's why when we developed the grouping process, then that's why we discovered, okay, what is the range for the min and max based upon the Collins Center, whether you agree with it or not disagree with it. If you look at any type of MA website, the data is there, and you can see that. So again, I hear your concerns, and looking at the numbers, I get why we're scared for those numbers, but we're 10 years behind this, and now even with the Collins Center, based on when they started this and evaluated the municipalities state, that was 2 years ago, so now we're even 12 years behind the rate. So I get it. It's not a position that I want to be for, and it's not something that I want to send down. But at the same time, when you're talking along a 7-step, unless it's big spikes or you start at a higher rate and then they get increased moving forward, that's why we went with the 15. I can share and compare all the data with you and you can see that. But if you look at the min and the max, that's what we based things on based upon the study that was done.
Mr. Chair? Find out where we stand as a city, to find out why we're not retaining employees. So this has all been healthy discussion, hearing it from our experts. And with that said, I think the mayor made it very clear in his letter, the reason why we chose a 15-step pay structure was to ensure that we're discussing tonight. And more importantly, I look at all our employees as the most valuable resource within this city. And let's start treating them that way. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
President Russell.
those are words on a letter. I can put similar words on a letter. So great, good for you. That doesn't make it right. So great for you to reparrot what the mayor said. That doesn't make what he said is right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, what makes it right what Councilor Ossing is saying? You know, we need this healthy discussion with fact base, not just hearsay. Again, I think we can continue this, but I'm not going to bicker back and forth with Councilor Ossing.
And I don't want to do that tonight. I mean, the whole goal for me this evening is with these positions that we approved the job descriptions. I want to go forward because I support these positions, definitely with the assistant recreation director, which is adamantly needed there for going into some money. If approved, when we get there, it still has to be advertised. So we're talking a lot of time. So that's taking a page out of Council Fitzgerald. With his idea, with these positions, I would support that because we need to get going on these. And it is, and I thank the mayor. This is a tough position to be in. And yeah, it's quite a debate having this when we're talking about having all these steps and trying to retain workers for succession plan. And absolutely, I support that. But I do support these positions that we have in front of us this evening. Councilor Roby?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what has occurred to me is we have a salary ordinance change that starts with Group B and ends in Group H, yet only 3 of the groups have positions aligned with them. What are the other groups for? Future changes are going to bring down to us? Who will be in groups?
In your packet, you should see a list of everyone that's listed in what group they are actually.
But there's only 3 groups, Group E, Group D, and Group C. You've got a Group B, a G, and an H with nobody in them.
Yeah, it should be in the packet.
No?
If I can
President
help
Ossing.
Councilor Roby out, there are people in each group.
Yeah.
It's not done what you're used to, and that's why there's a lot of consternation.
So are
Submit
these
it like we're
others?
used to seeing, it's 7 steps, and see where it goes. You can give the 15 steps side by side. But dollars per hour is not gonna get you anywhere. How do you go turn to the public and, anybody gets $100 if they can tell me how much this salary ordinance, if approved as is for everybody, costs the city?
And I get that point. My point is, who are these other people, and are they also increases to them?
yeah,
And
so if you
should
look-
we not be,
If you look at the original packet, it looks like they're whited out. So there
Yeah,
were
I-
a lot more positions that are in these groups. So for example, Group B, it has the assistant solicitor, the building commissioner, city auditor, the IT director.
all right,
Group
yeah,
C
because there's
is-
nothing in the.
Right. They
posting
were whited
packet.
out for some reason. I don't know. I'm assuming whoever created this packet whited them out just so you all
Point of
could focus
information.
on.
It was put that way because those are the only 4 we're supposed to be talking about tonight. That's why it's that way.
Correct. And I'm not disagreeing with that. That's just the reason why. There should be more information in this. There's just not in your packet for tonight because we
So-
weren't going to dive into how much we've dived into tonight.
But technically, if we approved this salary ordinance as presented, we would have been increasing everybody's salary?
Again, we wanted to have this conversation before the budget process, so that was the goal. So now we're in June, and now things have shifted, which I'm thankful that you guys took this up. However, the conversation had hoped would have started that coincided with the budget process, so we can have this debate. So when fiscal '27 happened, we would be able to budget accordingly. That did not happen, so now we're behind the 8 ball, and now we're trying to, not necessarily scramble, but now we're trying to figure out things as we move forward, which is fine, we can do that, but it was just, I was under the impression it would be a different conversation back in March or April, or even towards the May.
So if I go back and look at the March 23rd
Well, I'm going
agenda.
to send you all this information with the hour, with the salary per year and with the 7 steps. So I will provide all that information, so it'll be broken down for you
For
again.
everybody, or
So,
for
for
only
everybody,
these
correct.
specific people?
Everyone. I only have the data for everyone. I have debate as well as where you think we should start or not start.
Okay, and then I'll just state it, my concern is the agenda does not cover anything about job descriptions. It only talks about the salary ordinance. If you go to the very last page of the posting, or not the,
Put this stuff on there, Counselor Roby, it's just, doesn't know what format to put it in right now, so.
all right.
Posting is correct, it's job descriptions with the 4 positions listed.
Thank you, President.
But it doesn't say that on the posting. The posting is order number 9697 for the positions of city collector, assistant finance, city collector, and assistant recreation director. But there's no order number with it.
Again, they were all sent down with the same order,
I
or the
think-
same letter from the mayor.
Correct. It was all bundled. Technically, this should, if it's just job description, should have gone to personnel as well, but not finance.
And they might have been sent to both. I don't remember back when it was done. And that's
think we're
why I
crossing-
was
I think
totally
we're-
confused when you started talking job descriptions, because it doesn't say anything on the agenda about job descriptions.
Sure it does.
Council Vital?
No, it does not.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is more directed to the mayor. Mayor, the Collins study came down right around the beginning of the year. And you keep saying we wanted to get it done by the budget, we wanted to get it done by the budget, why didn't it get done by the budget?
We submitted this in March. Finance
Okay.
never took it up.
What's that?
The finance never took it up. We submitted this in March.
The reclassifications, the 15 steps that came out the Collins report, that study was done at the beginning of the year, and you presented these 15-step reclassifications to the Finance Committee in March?
Correct.
15-step classifications.
Well, he did not,
No,
he did not present it to the finance, he sent the letter to the city council.
City Council.
With all the stuff in it.
Okay.
And that was referred to the finance committee.
Correct. This process that we went through, it was to get the job descriptions with every department, every employee went through their own job description, so the whole Collins Center study took well over a year to get all the information, document it, went through the union, so it was a very long process, and then just to figure out what steps actually worked.
And that's why it didn't come down.
April, and that did not happen. Now we're meeting them on it for the first time today, June 1st.
Mr. Chair,
President,
the reason it wasn't taken up is because we never would have got through the budget process.
Right. And that's fair. That's now moot. Like, we just need to move on and figure out what direction we want to go.
Mr. Chair, a sense of, on the 7 steps for now, if you don't mind?
Council Fitzgerald?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Councilor Vital. Just going back, and again, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but my opinion of this, I am a firm believer that we take these as they are, case by case, and we give each job description, each individual in the city, the full length of the process. I think it's going to take us a while, but so for that reason, right before us, it appears to me that the priority is the city collector / assistant finance director, rec director, assistant rec director, and then that collector position, right, the 2 collector positions as they are. So I would move to have the mayor resubmit this to us in the 7-step format for those positions, the ones that are on our agenda for today's meeting.
Motion's made, and I will second that, to have the mayor resubmit with the 7 steps for the city collector, assistant finance director, city collector, and assistant recreation director, and to refer it back to the mayor to have the 7 steps.
Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion?
Discussion would be appoint to make, as well as a friendly amendment. The point would be, first, the Collins study. I remember when you first started, Ms. Purple, I was asking questions about it. So how long have we had the Collins study? And has it changed since the initial, or the mayor, whoever, if I may, Mr. Chair, through you to them? I thought it was here for more than just the beginning of the year.
Last, they actually finished it,
I remember. It started with the previous HR director.
That's what I
And
thought.
that,
Yeah, and it
and
was-
that sat for a while, and then obviously a change, and then we regrouped, and then it
and then they
started.
changed their staff.
Okay,
and
Correct.
okay, because I'm saying, wait a
Then
minute.
it went to every department. Every department had several iterations of the job descriptions. That was the big component of the study. It was not just financial. Was what do you do for your job? How does it compare to what your what we currently have or don't have for you? So that took a really long time. And then once it came back, each employee has had an opportunity to go through it. But
Thank you for refreshing my memory, because I didn't think it was just the beginning of this year. The other friendly amendment, Mr. Chair, would be to request that amendment just for the 7 step.
Okay. A motion,
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Patillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question through the mayor. We already have the 15 steps in front of us, do we not?
I will put it into an yearly salary range, so you can have that.
Yes, that's fine. Yearly, 7, 15, provide it all. Happy to look at it.
Yes, then,
To see the 7, I mean, you draw where you think it is, but that's,
and that's fair. Okay. I mean, I think that's what we did this with the 15, but I will try to make it work with the 7, so. But
thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That fits perfectly in what I would like to see.
I would second that.
I'm happy to go through them all, but right now, those 4, I would like to see.
It's reasonable.
Okay. I'm hesitant only because if,
Mr. Chair,
Mr. President.
there is no rush. You make, the
that's fine.
speed is what you want to work at.
No,
We're
that's
not
fine.
telling you we want to,
Perfect.
whenever you're done,
perfect.
come on down.
Thank you. I just thought you said by the next meeting, and I just wanted to make sure that, like,
No,
you-
no,
I don't want set me up for any type of failure by not
Mr.
sending it
Chair,
down by
I know
next,
it was
so-
floated right Thursday. No,
Yeah.
like, do what you have to do.
Thank you.
Let's do it right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I know I heard there's no rush, but I think for the positions...
No, there is a rush. I just don't want to I just don't want the expectation that I'm sending it down for the next meeting, and if I don't deliver, I just don't want any further complications. It's already not the best juju when it comes to this. I don't want to add any more insult to injury with this if I don't
Mr.
or
Chair,
can't make it by Thursday.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I think I'm agreeing with Council Vicello that the 4 positions we're looking at would be nice to see first if you have to do additional work,
Yeah.
so that we can resolve some of the vacancies that we have in these departments. So
I think
I
I'm
agree
just-
with Council Vicello, start with the first 4, if I'm agreeing with you, Council Vicello, and...
That's what was
and-
motion.
and- Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion was made and seconded. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
And,
you.
Mr. Chair, could you just restate what that last motion was?
I'll have Council Patillo. It was for it was to refer back to the mayor with definitely for the 4 positions that we approved the job description this evening, that would refer back to the mayor, that would show the 7 steps.
Yep, the 7 steps with a annual salary.
And not the 15?
I mean, we can review them as well.
We
I
can
think
review
we're-
those as
but
well.
yeah.
So he's only doing group C, D, and E, and not B, F, and G?
Because those positions are in those,
Each other.
Yeah.
So you need to have the salary ordinance as a total package.
Sorry. I thought we were ready to go, that's why I shut it.
2, 3, 4, 5. We are adjourned at 8:01 PM.